Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. We're going to jump right on in. We're going to be using these 3 Distress Oxide inks, and we're going to be using some black gesso. I'm going to show you that right there. And I'm using it, I don't show you the photos here. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure out my section that I want to use the black gesso in. So I wanted a 5-inch width that's going to go across the center, and that's going to be the section of the gesso where I'm going to put the black gesso. And I'm using this silicone, it's like a silicone brush from Prima to put on the black gesso. You can use this, you can use a palette knife. There's a lot of different things you can use. Now I'm going to have a little boo-boo. I'm putting this down, and as I get to the end, because I didn't want the gesso to go onto the white matte on the side, I think to myself, okay, well, let me just turn it over, and I'm going to clean up this mess, and I'll be able to finish it out. But I got black gesso up at the top. So we're going to start this over. Take 2. So on the top and bottom parts, I decided to treat the paper with clear gesso because I'm going to be doing a lot of mixed media on this paper. Like the whole thing is going to wind up being covered. So I wanted the tops and bottoms to have protection. And then I'm just going to use the same brush, dig in there and grab some of the black gesso for my center section. So I did grab a new piece of paper to create this one. And luckily, my original plan, works this time. I don't get black ink anywhere else. So we're able to continue on and fill in this section. Now, I will say for this, I didn't use a particular sketch in mind, but the technique is sort of inspired by Missy Whidden, and I will try and link her channel here for you guys to go check her out. She does a lot of mixed media, but what I love about the stressed oxides is how they show up on the black or dark paper, right? So I decided to spray. I did a little bit too much water, but I wanted to create a section on the end that was all this blue. I want to say that is the blueprint sketch, Distress Oxide. And I bring out my heat tool. This is the Tim Holtz heat tool, and I'm just kind of wanting to move it around if I can, if it'll let me. I did have to put down more ink because the section of the gesso, it had dried back so much you really couldn't see it. So I wanted to get some more color on there, so that way it would stand out. I kind of like what it's doing on the bottom and the top, and we're just gonna keep heating it. And I wind up grabbing my embossing heat tool because it actually has more of a directed path of the heat, and I liked using that more with moving some of the color around, some of the liquid, because I'm going backwards and forth trying to spray water to get it to move a little bit more and kind of dry it at the same time. That's basically what I'm working on. So we're just doing that, and you can see the tool is helping it to dry faster, which is great for, of course, making this video because we don't have to wait so long for it to dry naturally on its own. And then we're going to do the last color. The orange was carved pumpkin, and the red I'm using is candied apple. And I'm spraying it, and anytime you want something to move in an area, like if it's creating like a sort of like a pocket or a circle where it's not moving, if you just spray a little bit of water in that area, it will help the color to move. And I'm just trying not to have it really mix in too much with the orange, But if it does, it's okay because the red and the orange are, they're okay together. It's not going to make anything too muddy. Okay, and we're just doing the same thing, moving our heat tool around, trying to get it to dry. Like I said, if it's in an area that I want it to move, I just spray a little bit more water, and I keep trying to tilt it and move it and using my heat tool to get that to dry. All right. All right, and it's just drying up just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm bringing my photos back out because I just wanted to make sure everything was kind of laying right. Now I'm going to take my 2 photos and kind of cut them in half. And then there's extra space kind of like above our heads and like on the side. So I decided I'm going to trim it down. I don't really like measure. I just know I want to take like little slivers off where it was connected to the photo paper that I use is for the Canon selfie, and it has little pieces that you tear off, and it has that little weird edge, so I wanted to trim that off, stuff like that. And then once we get that down, you're gonna see I'm gonna try and back the paper. Okay, so I grabbed a piece of white paper that I have off to my side, and it's probably one that I cut in half to create my card base, because I do a lot of cards and stuff like that. And sometimes if I have an extra piece, I just put it over to the side. So I figured, I'm like, you know what, this will fit. It's enough space that I can lay down the photos and then cut them out. But of course, when I go to cut it out, because it's inevitable, I cut too much, and you'll see. But I still go with it. I use it anyway. I'm like, you know what? I've done too much now to give up. So one of them, I'm able to keep just a little thin piece of white, and on the other on the other photo, I wind up, it trimmed right to the photo. And I gave up. It's okay. I was going to put another piece up at top, but I was like, you know what? I'm not even mad at it. It is what it is. It'll be all right. So that's how our photos are going to go. I think I'm going to do it the other way. And what I did was I decided that with each of the color sections, I grabbed as much ephemera and different things that I had in my stash that either had red, orange, or blue in it. And I tried, only because I didn't have like a paper collection because I was doing the mixed media background, I tried to find items that I figured would match closest to the shades that I was going for. Now, it might be slightly off. Like, there's one that's more of a peachy orange, but the spots on the background where it went lighter with the carved pumpkin kind of had a peachy look to me. So I went with it. I just tried to, as much as I could, keep the color sections together. So like, I knew I wanted to use those flowers, that camera I wanted to use, but it was a really more of a bright yellow. So I grabbed my sponge and I just started going around the edges, and I added the carved pumpkin to the top of the camera. Now it has more of an orange tint, and it'll go in the orange section. And then this card over on the right hand side, I'm actually going to wind up moving it to the left, and I'm going to fussy cut it out. It looks like a palette for when you're painting. So I cut it out because we were at a wine and create class. So I was like, yeah, this will work perfect. And so I used some press and seal because I just wanted to kind of keep it together as I lifted it up to start putting it down on our element tier. And that's how it's going to wind up going, because it's on the, it has those red tones, so that's perfect for the red side, so I couldn't put it on the blue side. Then I had this round circle piece. It had some blue. I found some tags, just a few things, and I knew I wanted to put them over on different sides. Now that piece there I wanted to use, but it was just a little bit more on the peachy side for sure. So I was like, well, no, can't really get through that. That I'm going to wind up using, but I'm just going to push it in a little bit more. So just a little bit of the red is peeking out. And this is when I fussy cut the palette. And I get as close as I can. And then what I decided to do for the edge was take the candied apple and go around the edge, almost like how we were doing with the carved pumpkin. And once I smoothed it out in one section, I had to go back over it, but just so that way that similar red tone would be on the outside edge, and it kind of goes with, you know, that section that we're putting it. And then there's going to be some other things, that some puffy stickers I'm going to use, but I decided I kind of wanted to start putting some of the stuff down, gluing it down so that it would have a more secure. And the hard part for me is that I know generally where I want stuff to go, and it's very easy to get it in a different spot or not in the same spot. If you're really concerned about it, you can do one of two things. Put down the press and seal, pick up the items right where they are, put the glue on the back, and then lay it back down where you want it on the page itself. I did not do that. Not for this part. I figured I would be able to get everything pretty much down almost exactly where it was, and so I was okay. And then I wasn't sure, because then I was like, wait, this isn't laying exactly where I want it, and then I have this weird hole. I was like, okay, but I can work with that. And then I realized, no, I just need to put that a little bit higher. So it's going to work out. And as I'm laying down the photo and gluing that down, I wanted to add that other blue kind of sentiment over on the side, and then we're going to lay down the other one, the other photo. And I'm just using art glitter glue on the back of Fun Foam. The Fun Foam, the sticky side, I put on the back of the actual photo, and then I'm just using the glue. And I use the glue by itself because I just need a little bit of time. If I need to slide something underneath, it gives me that little bit of wiggle room. So this one for this side, I just need to lift it up a little bit and then slide that tag under, and then I'm going to attach this one on the bottom. And then that's where the camera's going to go. And I'm only taping it really on one side of the photo, and then on the other photo it's not sticking at all. I didn't think I needed to put that much tape on it. It's fine. The one will be plenty. All right, so now we're going to go through. There's a few little like red flowers. They were some like fruit pieces. I could have put those down too, but I decided not to. On the right side, the blue side, there was some dark blue hearts, and I started putting them down, and I realized I needed to put some wet glue underneath, only because this is gesso that it's going on top of, and I want to make sure that the hearts stay down. Sometimes stuff that's already pre-sticky won't stay or really attach well to gesso, so just be mindful of that. Now, I had gotten at like a Tuesday morning or something like that these butterflies that went with this page collection. I want to say it was the Truly Grateful. It might have been, don't quote me on it. But there was a yellowish orange, sort of like that pink red that we're going to put up at the top. So there were two of the butterflies that matched really well. And then the third one, I kind of took a little license on it. It had some of the blue. So I put it on top of the flower underneath and kind of closer to the blue section. So that way I could kind of make it work. It blends in a little bit, like in looking at it on the camera while I'm doing the voiceover, but I like to do things in threes, so it helped me out. And then there were, on the sticker sheet, 3 of the blue hearts. So I put that over there. And then on the red side, there's a couple of the red polka dot, sort of like enamel dots, but they didn't have a third one, so I just grabbed one that was solid. And then I saw the little mushroom, and okay, you guys, I'm never going to use that mushroom. So I'm like, I'm using the mushroom. There's no reason why. It's red and it's going over on the red side. It doesn't always have to match and make sense, okay? It just has to be the right color. So then I'm like, okay, right now I only have the one flower with this white outline. So I decided, let me add a few of these stickers. These are actually from Wendy Vecchi. And they work great. They have a white outline, just like the one that's with Paige's stuff. And it works. I add a little bit of glue, pop them down. Certain ones I do add some foam tape, like to this particular flower here, and I wind up putting it next to its little sister, so in the red section, so that little life preserver is just really slightly peeking out. Perfect. We're just wanting to add a little bit of layers. So since there's not a whole lot of orange on that one I used, I added a sticker that had more of an orange tone to it with it. And this blue, though it's a little bit of a teal, or I'm not going to say turquoise. Ooh, I said it. Yeah, I'm not going to do it again. So I'm going to still use it. So hindsight being 2020, I'm trying to take that other leaf off because that would have been perfect to go down the other section of that little circle. But I decided to add just a few more of the other leaves on top and call it a day because it wouldn't come up. So, but I like how that turns out. And then this the butterflies at the bottom, I decided, okay, these are going to stay right here. And I attached them with the art glitter glue as well. And then for the sentiment, I decided to use, I was looking through trying to find either stickers or something that I could use for the main title. And I was crafting at the time, I think I was crafting with my bestie, Beatrice. I will try and link her channel up here. Definitely check her out. And I asked her, I was like, what do you think? Because I couldn't think of a title. And she said, why don't you do sipping and painting? And I was like, you know what? That's what we're going to do because I have plenty of letters. So I grabbed these navy, they're small navy letters. These are also Paige Evans. And they're really great to use. One side is navy, one side is white. I decided to go with the navy because, you know, of the blue on the right-hand side. It really pops off. So I'm just laying out all the letters. So I got my sipping, my and painting is coming down now. And then with the painting, I am going to put the last exclamation mark that I have on this particular sheet. All right. So now we're going to kind of straighten them out and glue everything down. Because remember, I got gesso on this. And though they are sticky, they do have a tendency not to want to stick. So the art glitter glue helps. And that'll allow me time to lay stuff down and get it straight before it's done. So on this part, while this is going on, I am going to ask you guys earlier than I normally do. But if you're, just joining me for the first time on my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also hit the little bell next to the subscribe because it'll give you an alert whenever I upload new content. And leave a comment. I love reading them. If you have a question, if I don't have the answer, I can try and find either you a link or something like that. And of course, because Missy wouldn't, I swear she's my spirit animal, I will link her YouTube channel down below as well in the more section. So for this, I did bring out my reverse tweezers, and I normally have problems with these tweezers because I get it that they work in the opposite way. I don't know. I feel like everybody rants and raves about them, but I find that they give me problems sometimes. They don't want to play nicely. So after I got that all glued down, because I had to finish it off camera, it was like watching paint dry, I decided to add some lines, and I was going to use this white jelly roll pen, but I think because of the gesso, it didn't want to write well. So I grabbed my Pentel pen, and I'm writing the story of us going to this, I think it's called Wine, Paint and Create here in North Carolina, where I'm from. Well, where I'm living at the moment for the last, like, however many years. And I'm just writing about going there with two of my friends. And once I got that filled out, I don't have a date for it, so I didn't stamp it with a date stamp. I just decided that I was gonna go ahead and do my splatters, because you guys know I love splatters at the end of my projects. I just think it adds a little bit of added detail. And the best part about Distress Oxides, even their inks, when you splatter white, that white kind of fades back because it kind of picks up some of that color. So then it almost looks like I did blue splatters, the orangey splatters, the red. It kind of turns into like that soft, like pink undertone that matches. So it doesn't stay like super vibrant. Okay. And then I decided to hit it with a little bit of gold. And then in the end, I do decide to hit it with a little bit of black. I told you, for whatever reason, I really like my splatters in threes. I could have just done the white and left it be, but I feel like when you look at it in person and up close, having the three splatters definitely helps. I think it gives it a little bit of movement. And so I just add a little bit of the black. And that is it. So once I clean up kind of around, I'm going to remove the tops, the paper tops, and that is our completed project. I love how it turned out. I really do. It's nice and bright and vibrant. I went away and came back because at first I was like, how does she get it to go so well? And like it was driving me nuts. And then when I saw it again, I was like, okay, I know I like it. Yeah, I like it. So once again, thank you guys for joining me. Like I said before, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And I will have at the end links to previous layouts. The one I did last week for the white challenge on my little scrapbook store. I'll link to that. And one other one that I've done recently with my friend Beatrice.